Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking the time out to join this webinar this afternoon. My name is Vanessa Willats, and I am Country Offer Manager for Iconic and PDL Pro. So what's going on in our market today? We have a lot of e-commerce, we have a lot of one-size-fits-all products, we've got a lot of cheap copies coming into the country, there's a lot more choice for people, and there's a lot more smart home information out there. So what we want to do to drive growth and to help you guys with your wholesale business is we want to mitigate the impact of the e-commerce players that are coming through. We want to give the consumers and the electricians something different. We want to put some patent protection around those things that are different, that they can't come in and can't be copies. We want to do some simple smart home things through to more complicated voice control type products. The consumers, we know, they want more choice, they want higher involvement, they want to make the decisions about the products that go into their homes. So it's not a one-size-fits-all market anymore. It's a market where there's a lot more specialty offers and special channels. So things that suit one market may not necessarily suit another. And no longer is it a one-size-fits-all. So if we start with Iconic, which came out in 2016, when we brought this out, before we brought this out, we did extensive market research on residential consumer needs, what they wanted as a consumer, what they needed, and we also talked to a whole lot of electricians and asked them what they wanted in installation. Where were their pain points? Where were their problems? That sort of thing. We went out and we designed it around voice of customer or customer feedback on both the consumer and the electrician. So we'll do a Iconic range overview first off, which is our residential switchgear range. We have a range of switches, grids, and skins. So these were designed slightly bigger than the product that we have in the market already, and we did that on purpose so that if a consumer takes an old switch off the wall and doesn't repaint or doesn't wallpaper, they could put this new Iconic one on the wall, and it covers up all of those paint marks and wallpaper shadings. So we have 1 to 4 gang in vivid white in a complete product. Then we have the 5 and 6 gangs as grids and skins. We also have dedicated switch plates. So we have grids and covers, which can be used for data or audio or telephone or anything that comes through the plate, permanent connection units, and that just saves you having to get rid of the dollies and throw them in the bin. We also have grid and mix to help with our skinnability. So from 1 to 4 gang, you can buy a grid complete with a mech and you can buy whichever skin you want to put over the top. We also have architraves for those installations, in the bathrooms or in smaller places. We have wet area products, so IP44 1 to 4 gang, and that comes with a membrane to be just a little bit of protection in wet areas. We have a cable entry plate, and that's a dedicated plate, so your cables come through here, and there's a brush and a brush area at the back to stop dust, insects, those sorts of things coming through into the lounge. We have our trusty permanent connection unit, so for heated towel rails or any of those other appliances that you want to keep permanently connected and just switch on and off when needed. And we also have our cooker, so that's a 45 amp cooker switch. We have sockets, piano sockets, single, double. We have double with extra switch, and again they are slightly bigger than the plates that the consumer will have on the walls today. We have some other special sockets. We have a 4 gang socket. So the 4 gang socket that's out in the market today is quite deep. This one is a slim version, so this is the same profile as the double sockets, so quite slim. We also have the quad socket with extra switches. So these extra dollies can be popped out and you can put a USB or a waste mech or any other dedicated switch in there. But most people use them to have a dual USB in this one and a dual USB in this one, so they have 4 sockets and 4 USB entry points. Now these two, they share the same grid, so depending on whether you're buying a 4-gang or a 4-gang with extra switch, it will have the same grid behind it. So these little bits just pop out when you need to use the extra switch. And to give it a little bit of added rigidity, we have a metal mounting bracket that just sits behind the product. In the double vertical and the double vertical with extra switches, they too have one grid that suits both skins. So you don't need to, no separate grid for this one, separate grid for this one, they both fit onto this grid. We have our skins, so the majority of you guys would have seen the 4 Iconic skins that came out first. Translucent edge, we have the white, we have the cool grey, we have the warm grey, and we have the anthracite. And then we brought out next style version, which is these 3 metallic looks for that more modern type look. And if you notice, it sort of resembles a smart device or a smartphone, and that was done on purpose for those trendy areas. And we have that in crown, we have that in silver, and we have that in silver shadow. And then we have our Essence product that came out late last year, in Arctic White with a natural birch edge, and that's real timber. And we also have the ash grey with the natural birch edge being stained in black. One thing you'll notice with all of these skins, complete skin. So no longer do you have an anthracite with a black meck coming through or a warm grey with a white meck coming through. The whole face is the same colour, and that clips onto this grid. We have a range of standard dolly rockers, which are stocked by some of you, and they come in all of the colours. What we do have also is have craftsman namer who will engrave whatever you like, whatever your customer requests on our dollies. So that's an order that you put through to craftsman namer, and you can talk to your rep if unaware of this or need any more information on how to do it. One of the other things they do is an electric vehicle charger. So a lot of your customers now will be pre-wiring new builds with electric chargers. So this plate here is to let the customer, the homeowner, know that their home has been pre-wired for an electric vehicle charger. And that's something that you can order through Craftsman Namer also. We do have a list of dollies and a list of icons that's available on the Wholesaler partner portal and on our website if you need any more information on those. We have some special things in Iconic too. We have a 3-gang USB charger with a shelf, and it's 3 USBs. They're rated at 2.1 amp each, but a 4.5 maximum. So what that means is if you've got something fully charging on here is at 2.1, fully charging on here at 2.1, the rest of the charge left, the 0.3, come out of here. What this also, another special feature of our USB, is what it will do is if your device on here is charging, it's charged to 80%, it will take some of that charge and put it to this device here, if this device here is at a lower battery percentage. It will also stop charging when your device is charged, and if your device gets too hot, it will automatically derate itself and lower charge until your device cools down. And they're all designed to protect the device that you're charging. It has the same installation properties as a double socket, which makes it very easy for the electrician to install. Another special thing we have in Iconic is a Nightwalk sensor light. So this is just a skin that fits on a double horizontal grid, and the consumer and the homeowners can change from a night light with sensor light. So depending on the stage of their life or stage of their kids' lives or what they want to do with this product, they can either use it as a sensor light, which turns on with movement. So as you walk past, the light will come on, it'll stay on for 2 minutes and then it will go off, or as a night light, and that will turn on all night and come off however the lux level you set it at. The homeowner can adjust the lux level as well, so if they only want it to come on when it's really dark, they can change the lux level for that, or if they want it to come on when it's slightly lighter, they can change it as well. Very easy to do. It has a soft white glow, so not to be too intrusive as a night light, but give you enough light to see where you're going as a sensor light. Catalogue numbers. So a lot of you will be familiar with our 600 series product, and when we talked to the market, they asked us to keep it as simple as we possibly could. So what we did is we said, okay, people today are used to ordering a PDL 695. So when they order an Iconic, we will make it a PDL 395. So when you have Iconic, you just change the 6 to a 3, and that makes it a lot easier for people to understand. We do have compatibility charts as well with descriptions. So if you're not familiar with the 600 series product, just look and see that you need a double socket with an extra switch, and it will give you both part numbers. For Iconic style and Iconic essence, we kept it simple once again. We said if it's a style, it becomes an S395 for style, and then with the relative colours on the end. In Iconic essence, it's E395, the E for essence, and your PDL Iconic is just 395. Now we move into the PDL product overview for commercial installations. So remembering Iconic is very much designed for the residential space, where it's got a lot of pretty aesthetics, it's got a lot of skin designs, while still being functional. And we've now designed something to go into the commercial space. When we were thinking about designing this, we went out and we spoke to a lot of people that either facility managers or use commercial buildings or install product in commercial buildings, and they told us there was a lot of problems. They said circuit identification is a major problem because it gets wiped off, it gets lost, the cover gets taken away, so we have no idea what circuit this belongs to anymore. Then it looks messy when the covers are off, and it would be dangerous. They said that it's not very robust. Some of the products out there get damaged very easily. The skin gets broken. They lose the little screw caps. They get covered in dust. It's very outdated. And then they also had a complaint about installations. The mix can sometimes be hard to change. Sometimes the cables are damaged and you can't pull the cable out of the wall and re-strip it because there's just a length there to do it. So we went away and talked to our R&D department, and they came up with the solution to these problems. So they designed a nice circuit identification, which is easy and secure under the skin, so it can't get removed. They designed a secure skin for the product, so you can't remove it by hand. It needs a special tool or a screwdriver to remove the skin. They made the sockets IK08, which is an impact rating, so that just means you can slam your trolley into this and it's very unlikely that it will smash. We gave it a new modern look, so it's now a gloss black and a gloss white. And we also use the same installation features that we used on Iconic, which I'll go through shortly, to give the installers some added benefit. So just talking about the secure skin, once you clip the skin onto here, it's very hard to remove. So it has little dimples on the side where you can just slot in the screwdriver and clip it off very easily. The identification is another big thing for your customers and when they're installing things into a commercial building. So we talked to them, and electricians told us that they used either truffle light labels or dymo labels normally, or they just write on it. So we've made this area big enough to accommodate either a truffle light label or a dymo label, which is a key label, or they can write on this if they want to. And once this is installed, it's part of the grid. So no longer is it part of the skin, and no longer can it get wiped off. And once your skin goes on, you have a nice clear window that clearly identifies what circuit that product is servicing. So the skin it's a polycarbonate clear window and an ABS cover, so that's the plastic that they've used in this, ABS being quite a strong plastic. In the range, we've got 170 references. We've got your usual 1 to 6 gang switches, grids and covers. We've got your 1 to 3 gang IP44, so that's the one with the membrane at the back. We've got 1 and 2 gang architraves. We have a bright white LED indication available, and you can also use this bright white LED indicator for Iconic if need be. We have sockets. So we've got the vertical and horizontal. We've got your 10, 15 and 20 amp sockets. We have a round earth, which is not something we offer in Iconic. We have a quad, and we have a 10 and 30 milliamp RCD. The 10 milliamp RCD can be used in schools and anywhere that is not a patient treatment area or a medical area. So medical 10 milliamp RCDs require a few other things to be added to the product. They're not suitable for a patient treatment area, but they are suitable for any other school, primary school, preschool, anywhere else the 10 milliamp RCD is required. We do also have some dedicated socket skins in blue and red. So they are used primarily for uninterrupted supply or UPS supply. The dedicated to the commercial market, we've got the round earth socket for lighting or a dedicated socket. We have neon indicators, so power available neons and straight neon, and we have the RCD 10 milliamp. Again, we're keeping it simple for you with your PDL 695 and PDL Pro, PDL P395. And again, we also have a compatibility chart for this. So if you are not sure what a 695 is, it'll have the description of a double horizontal socket. Look for that and know that you need the PDL P395. We combined our technology for both Iconic and PDL Pro. So what we did is we said we've got 2 markets and we've got 2 designs. So the Iconic has a dedicated grid, and that dedicated grid will fit the decorative skins that we have available in Iconic. And the consumer can choose those dedicated those skins to fit onto the Iconic dedicated grid. And then we have a dedicated grid and a dedicated skin for Pro Series. So you can't put a Pro Series skin on an Iconic grid, and you can't put an Iconic skin on a Pro Series grid. This is something to keep in mind. But what we did do is we combined all of the 300 series mechanisms. So any mechanism that fits into Iconic will fit into Pro. We've got the locking bar, we've got the wrapper terminal, we've got the pre-fitted screws, and for the electricians, we've got the square drive screwdriver. The shared modules, we have a full range of modules for both Iconic and for Pro Series. So we've got 10 and 20 amp, we've got 20 amp double pole, intermediates, and dedicated LED or neon indicators. We have Cat6 and Cat6A data mix in Iconic, and they use the ActRC quick termination tool. So that fits both the Cat6A and Cat6 data mix. We have keystone clips for use when people are using a different keystone adapter. We have audio and video connectors. We have residential Cat6A. We also have the electronic and connected products. So we have rotary dimmers, Bluetooth dimmers, timers, sensors, CBUS mix, and USB charging. And I'm expecting all of you to buy up large on the PIR mix and the sensor mix, because that's no contact switching. And no longer do you need to switch the light on, you can just walk past and the light will come on. very good for where we are at the minute. The installation fee. This information would be good for you when you're trying to sell this to your customers. So you can just let them know that all they need to install is a 57-metre diameter hole saw. They just cut the hole and they can install it and double for the ones where they have a bigger switch. So no longer do they have to sit there and cut out the jib for the flush box. They can just use a double hole saw, job done. One square drive screwdriver. So this is something that especially the New Zealand electricians like. They like the fact that they can use it on their terminals, they can use it for the locking bar, they can use it on their mechanisms, they can use it to lift up the safety flaps. We have preloaded screws and safety flaps. So this here is an Iconic grid, and you can tell because it's got the full cover flap that just fits over the screws. And once these two flaps are closed, this product here is electrically safe to use until the consumer or the homeowner decides they want to have an Iconic style skin or an Iconic skin or a essence skin, or they want whatever colours they want. They can use that. The electrician can do all their testing. Don't have to wait until the consumer decides on the colour. This is a Pro Series grid, and you can tell the difference because it has the green flaps over the screws, and that's because it makes it a lot stronger in a commercial application. So if you're picking product on your shelf and you're not quite sure which grid you should be getting, if the customer wants Iconic, it's the one with the flaps. If they want Pro, it's the one with the green screw covers. We have direct access screws, so when they're installing it, they can get their screwdriver into all of the terminal screws, even when there's a 6-gang product. Some of the others are a little bit hard to get to, and they normally need to be a bit fiddly. One of the favourite things for your customers is they like the large terminals. You can put up to 4 2.5mm cables into this product, which makes it really easy when you're trying to add another socket, or you've got a lot of sockets on one circuit. And the other thing that's quite popular is a wrapper terminal. And what this means is as you screw up the screws, it clamps down on the cable rather than screwing through the cable. So most products in the industry today, they have a screwed terminal, and that damages the cable. So when the customer is trying to install it, they have no problem if they need to reinstall another one or add something to it. They can pop this out, and that cable is not damaged. The painted locking bar that we were talking about before, those of you that are familiar with Iconic will know what this is. But this is just a locking bar. So once that mech is in there and you've closed the locking bar, you can't push the mech out through the front. So it prevents it, and it becomes quite secure. The other good thing about this is if you want to change this into a 3-gang product, you can pop those mechs out. They're still cabled. You can add another 3-gang mech into that thing and pop them all back. You don't need to unwire these two just to add another one. We have encapsulated screws, and we also have protection ribs between the cables. And this just stops if you strip your sheath off too far, you don't have to cut it and redo it as long as it doesn't go past these. That's added protection, both the product and the installer. LED options. So it's now easy to add an LED to your switch. You just buy LED. All they need to do is pop the LED into there, wire it up, and job done. So we have 2 LED options. We have the bright white, and we also have the warm white. And the reason we went for warm white for residential applications is there's a lot of complaints about the blue. So when you're trying to sleep, you don't like a blue light in your face. The warm, unobtrusive light that's not going to keep you awake. Can't see it from the moon. The gist to recap, PDL Iconic. So we established this as the new standard for the residential space. So we have skinability. So the customer can pick what skin they want and what look they want. We have USB charging. We have night walks. We have app control dimming, which we'll go into in the next session. We have safety flaps and internal shutters. So this product now becomes safe to use without the skin on it. We have floating wrapper terminals for the installation for the Sparkies, and we have the locking bars. So that is the residential Iconic. Then we have PDL Pro, which is the new standard for commercial spaces. We have gloss colour. We have clear circuit identification. We've got a secure skin that needs a tool or a screwdriver to pop off. We've got 10, 15 and 20 amp sockets. We have dedicated sockets around earth and dedicated accessory. IK10 box, which gives it that added protection. And again, we have the labour and time saving for installers. So we have the locking bar, we've got the wrap terminals, we've got the captive screws, and we've got the internal screws and safety flaps. If you need to know more about this, or you want to know more or go a bit more in depth, we have the Wholesaler Partner Pool and your local rep. If you can't get hold of any of those, we have quite a lot of information on our pdl.co.nz website. So we have the brochures for both the Pro Series and the Iconic. We have range overview guides. We've got specification documents. So for those of you that call on consultants and do projects, we have cut and paste versions in the system in the website for you to use. We have what we call Revit files, and we have line drawings of all the products. There's also a whole heap of YouTube videos that you are more than welcome to jump on and watch, and just key in PDL Pro or PDL Iconic, and it'll bring up those, and feel free to watch those also.